Has there ever been a more perfect demonstration of a delectable medley of footballing splendour than what we saw at Old Trafford? What an amazing moment that was. What an amazing game of football it was. It was a footballing moment that had absolutely everything. It was football poetry. It was football heroine. It was football distilled into its purest and most brilliant, bold, beautiful best. And I truly loved it. The FA Cup. Bloody hell. Wasn't it sensational? And anyone who ever sneers ever at the FA Cup, anybody who ever tells you that the FA Cup has lost its magic, anyone who ever says that the big teams no longer care about the FA Cup, all they need to do is watch that. That game was scintillating. I loved it. It was glorious. It was perfection. It was beautiful. And did you see the moment that the ball hit the back of the net at Old Trafford for that winner? Did you see that precise moment that Diallo's strike evaded Kelleher and crept in off the post? Did you see what I saw? Did you feel what I felt? Did you see? Were you inspired? Because Old Trafford erupted. And football is a game of passion. Football is a game of unbridled passion. Something that cannot be sanitised and should not be sanitised, but painfully is. And suddenly, we looked into the Stretford end, and it was an away end. You know when you see away fans go for it? When you see away fans go, celebrate, wallop, chaos, catastrophe, brilliance, spontaneous moments of joy. That is what we saw, unbridled. And it was happening in the home end. I have never, in the history of my life watching football, I have never seen the Stretford end burst into that rapturous moment the way that it did. And it was everything. When you see an away end in the home end, you know that things are right with football. And that is what we are. We are football people. We want football to be full of soul, full of energy, full of passion, full of true grit and glory. And that is what it was. And I don't know why it was so big to celebrate. Maybe it was cathartic. You know, Manchester United, they've been through the mill. They went through the mill, in fact, in that game. And maybe those celebrations were a result of some of that, some sort of cathartic bundle of cauldron of spontaneous joy. It was unreal. It was absolutely unreal. And do you know what it was like for me? You know when people far more intelligent than me and far more cultured than me, you know when they look at a beautiful piece of art and they study it and they appreciate it and they give it this due diligence that it deserves, or they read some poetry, I don't get it. They look at a view in the Lake District. They see things that I don't see. I see this. This is mine. I can appreciate this forever and a day. I can watch the celebration in that Stretford end forever and a day. I can look at it a million times in the way that someone else more intelligent than me will read a Wordsworth poem. I don't do that. But in that Stretford end, in that moment, you look at it 1,000 times and you see 1,000 different things. You see different people doing different things, putting different facial expressions, and the joy, that moment, that is football. That is what we're all in it for. You know why we're football fans? You know what we do? We chase the buzz. We are junkies. The reason why we talk about football all our life, the reason why we go all the time, the reason why we commit time, money, passion, the reason why we sacrifice things to talk about football for the beautiful game is because we are chasing moments. We are chasing those moments forever. And what we saw in those moments at Old Trafford was the point. That is what football is. Football ends going over in the way that the Stretford end did. That's my Mona Lisa, man. That is what I see and what I believe art to be. The Stretford end, off the back of that Diallo goal, it's a work of art. That to me is Van Gogh. And it was amazing. And it was off the back of a truly, truly brilliant game. Eric Ten Hag, man. Whatever we say about Ten Hag, whenever we talk about Ten Hag, pulls it out of the bag, doesn't he? Every single time, it looks like he's deflated. Single time, it looks like he is finished. Every single time, it looks like he's on the precipice of disaster. He somehow manages to find a way. And his team today, they turned into Fergie's treble winners. I don't know how they did it, but they fought for everything. They fought into the bitter end. Every single player doing every single thing for his team. Every single player was giving his entire self to the cause. Every single player was sacrificing himself. Every single player was prioritising others. Every single player was prioritising the fans, prioritising the manager over themselves. They were all doing whatever it took to make sure that they got the job done. I mean, at various points in the game, we had Bruno Fernandes playing as a sort of hybrid centre-half. We had Harry Maguire doing a job in both boxes. We had him playing sometimes at centre-half, sometimes at centre-forward. We had Anthony scoring goals and then turning into prime Ashley Cole. We had him putting in a diligent and robust performance at left-back when it was most needed. And then we had the commitment. And do you know what? I've given Harry Maguire an awful lot of stick on this channel. I've slated him. I've insulted him. I've had a war of words with his mother. But he was immense, I thought. Absolutely immense. Do you know what? In either box, if it was crossed into the box, no matter what happened, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what was going on, no matter who crossed it, no matter who was being marked, do you know who won the header? Harry Maguire. He won absolutely everything. And I tell you what, it wouldn't matter if you were to cross a washing machine into that box, Harry Maguire would head it out. If you were to cross a Range Rover into that box, Harry Maguire would head it out. If you were to cross a fridge freezer into that box, cushion header, Harry Maguire, wallop. No matter what you would put into that box, Harry Maguire won it. And I tell you what, he gave absolutely everything for his team. And it was a dream day for Manchester United. It couldn't have been better. In fact, it was a dream weekend. They watched Tottenham drop points. They then watched Villa drop points. And they then put themselves in the driving seat. They're going to Wembley. They're on course to get to a final. The draw has been incredibly kind to them. And it's now looking like Manchester United are going to be able to salvage something from a season potentially, because the final of the FA Cup for a second consecutive year is awaiting them. But remember, tribalism to all of us is very important. Pettiness to all of us is very important. And not only did they keep their own season alive, Manchester United, not only did they protect themselves from the inauspicious fact that their season could have been over in mid-March, no silverware by mid-March. That doesn't exist now. So they've kept their own season alive, but this is crucial. Manchester United fans are going to love this. They may have derailed Liverpool. What isn't going to happen now, because of Manchester United's brilliance, Liverpool will not win 4 trophies. You know, when they were talking about Jurgen Klopp's farewell tour and they were calling it the Fab Four tour as a sort of homage to the Beatles, that ain't happening. Ain't a Fab Four tour because of Manchester United. So, yes, Manchester United saved their own season. Yes, they got themselves into a situation that they are so desperate to get themselves into, but they've also managed to damage. And the future will tell us, do they derail? Let's see. But they have really damaged Jurgen Klopp's farewell tour. And that will make them so happy. The Jurgen Klopp interview post-game, where he kind of questions, I think he's having a real pop at the journalist in terms of his stature. It felt very weird. So Manchester United have certainly got to Liverpool today. And I think that this game, it's a reminder of the enduring allure of the FA Cup. Like, the FA Cup is spectacular. It's unrivaled. There is not a cup competition in the world that comes even close to the beauty and brilliance of the FA Cup. And think about what we saw today. It was gladiatorial, man. That wasn't Old Trafford. That was an amphitheatre. It was immense. It was amazing. And we had 2 gladiatorial teams going hell for leather at one another, giving everything to one another. You had managers throwing everything at the game. 2 sets of supporters doing everything that they could to roar their teams on to success. And I think all anyone wants from a team, this isn't about Liverpool fans or United fans or Chelsea fans or anyone. All anyone wants, fight like lions. And Manchester United did that today. What about Anthony when he scored, ripping at his chest, pointing at the badge, demonstrating his love for the club? Garnacho covered every blade of grass, tirelessly running, didn't stop. He is a world-class footballer in the making. Marcus Rashford, despite that miss, kept going, relentlessly kept going, and got his rewards. I thought Scott McTominay had an amazing game. He never, ever wilted. And Manchester United effectively engaged Liverpool for nearly 2 hours worth of combat. We know Liverpool are better. We know that Liverpool are a stronger team. We know Liverpool have a better manager. We know that Liverpool are on the up. We know that Manchester United are struggling. And yet, Ten Hag's players, they fought tooth and nail. And, crucially, Ten Hag, he got it right. He was bold. He was decisive. He was daring. And I've given Ten Hag stick. But we have to acknowledge quite how good he was. His substitutions won the game. And look at that moment. Diallo for the goal. Wasn't it an amazing goal? It was Diallo that won the ball. He links up with Garnacho. Garnacho carries the ball, sprinting. It's got to be over 60 yards. Gets to a situation where he kind of plays the ball to Diallo. And I didn't think it was a great pass. Thought he kind of played him the wrong way. Diallo does something brilliant. And it's so nonchalant. It's so little. It's so slippery. It's so slight. Just a shift of the body weight. Just to unnerve Conor Bradley. Bradley's suddenly thrown totally off balance. And then he guides the ball with his left foot past Kelleher. Kelleher may have reacted slightly late, may have struggled a bit. But then there was that moment, that freeze frame moment, where the ball is past Kelleher. Is it going to hit the post? Is it going to creep in? Is it going to hit the post and come out? And it crossed the line. And bang, magic ensued. That is football. That end went. The players went. The top was off. And you can't even blame him. I think he said that he forgot that he'd been booked. I mean, he was booked about 4 minutes earlier. Is when he blocked. Somebody tried to, I think Alexis McAllister tried to take a quick free kick. And he blocked it. And he got booked. And then you could see, like, the more senior Manchester United players ran over to the Stretford end, tried to kind of block him to allow him to get his top on and hope that he didn't get sent off. So he's going to miss the Brentford game, but there is a chance that he wouldn't have played in that one anyway. So, it's not going to be a huge moment for him. But it was an amazing game. And that game actually represents, it's a microcosm of what sport is all about. Total and utter united teams going for one another. Fully committed, 100%, lay it all on the line, leave nothing out there. And that was sensational. Manchester United, unreal. And it felt like a very Manchester United performance. Young teenagers running the show, doing the business for Manchester United. It's what they're about. And that game was spectacular. I'm going to remind you, that was a true definition of a delectable medley of footballing splendour. I genuinely loved it. Really, really keen to hear your thoughts on this game. I just thought it was immense. Please let me know. Do you agree in the comments below? My mind is blown. Have a wonderful night. Cheers.